Single dad fan fixed a $100 million stage malfunction. What the superstar did next shocked the world. Leo Martinez had heard enough broken dreams to know what perfect sound was supposed to feel like. Standing in the Madison Square Garden pit with his 11-year-old daughter Maya bouncing on her toes beside him, he should have been focused on her excitement. Her homemade "Celine Quinn is my universe" sign wobbled above the crowd, and she'd been practicing dance moves in their Brooklyn apartment for weeks. This was supposed to be Maya's night, her first real concert, her idol just 50 feet away. But something was wrong. "Dad, can you see her yet?" Maya tugged his sleeve, craning her neck toward the massive stage where roadies scurried like ants across platforms draped in silver fabric. "Soon, Mija," Leo said, though his attention had shifted to the speakers flanking the stage. During the soundcheck, he caught something the crowd missed, a subtle wobble in the reverb, a feedback loop that shouldn't exist. Most people would dismiss it as pre-show jitters in the equipment. Leo knew better. He'd spent 15 years as an audio engineer before Sarah got sick. Before hospital bills and single parenthood made touring impossible. Before he traded mixing boards for a steady job fixing HVAC systems. But you don't forget how to listen. Not really. The soundcheck resumed, and there it was again, a microsecond delay in the left array, creating phase cancellation that would turn Celine's voice into mud by the third song. Leo's fingers twitched, muscle memory wanting to reach for faders that weren't there. "This is the best day ever," Maya whispered, filming everything on Leo's phone. Leo smiled at his daughter's joy, but his mind was already reverse engineering the system layout. The delay suggested a digital signal processor pushed past its buffer limits. If the board was a DJI-Co SD7, and given Celine's production budget, it would be, then the DSP allocation was likely maxed out on the vocal chain. They need to redistribute the processing load, maybe split the reverb sends between internal and external units. The house lights dimmed for the final soundcheck run-through, and Leo made his decision. Pulling out his phone, he opened his email and started typing to the generic technical contact listed on the venue's website. "Your vocal chain has a 3 milliseconds delay on the L array causing phase issues. DSP overload on the reverb sends. Try splitting vocal verb between internal lexicon and your external TC units. Buffer the L array 3 milliseconds to match R array timing. You've got maybe 20 minutes before it becomes unfixable. A friend in audio." He hit send and immediately felt foolish. Who was he to diagnose a $100 million production from the crowd? These guys were professionals. They'd probably ignore some random email anyway. But 20 minutes later, during the final sound check, the wobble disappeared. 2 hours into Celine Quinn's show, Leo watched his daughter sing every word to Midnight Frequency, while Celine's voice soared crystal clear through the arena. The star commanded the stage like she owned gravity itself, her voice hitting notes that seemed impossible. The crowd was a living thing, 20,000 people breathing as one. Then, just before the encore, something unexpected happened. Celine paused mid-song, her hand shading her eyes as she scanned the crowd. The arena fell silent except for the distant hum of electronics. "You know," she said into her mic, her voice suddenly intimate despite the massive space. "Tonight felt different. Someone out there saved this show before it even started." Her eyes seemed to sweep right over their section. "To whoever sent that email, I owe you. I owe you big." Maya looked up at her father with confused excitement. "Dad, what email? Do you think she means?" But Leo was already staring at the stage, his heart hammering against his ribs. Because Celine Quinn wasn't looking at the crowd anymore. She was looking directly at him. 3 days later, Leo was elbow-deep in a broken furnace when Maya burst through their apartment door. "Dad! There's a woman outside who says she knows you, but I've never seen her before, and she's wearing really expensive sunglasses even though it's cloudy, and—" The doorbell rang. Leo wiped his hands on his coveralls, expecting maybe a neighbor or his landlord. Instead, he opened the door to find Celine Quinn standing in his hallway, looking somehow both smaller and more luminous than she had on stage. "Hi," she said simply, removing her sunglasses. "I'm Celine. I think we need to talk. Leo's mouth went dry. How did you? Your email came from your phone. My team's really good at finding people. She glanced past him to where Maya stood frozen, clutching her backpack. Maya, right? I heard you're a fan. For the first time in months, Maya was speechless. Can I come in? Celine asked. I promise I'm not here to cause trouble. 5 minutes later, they sat around Leo's small kitchen table while Maya tried to act casual and failed completely. Celine cradled a mug of coffee like it was the most normal thing in the world. You saved my career, Celine said directly to Leo. That malfunction would have destroyed the entire tour. How did you know? Leo shifted uncomfortably. I used to work in audio. Just noticed something off. Used to work in audio, Celine repeated. Where? Around. Small venues mostly. I'm just a repair guy now. Celine studied him with eyes that missed nothing. I want to hire you. Full-time touring audio safety consultant. We fly to Denver tomorrow, then Phoenix then. No. The word came out harder than Leo intended. Thank you, but no. I have responsibilities here. Dad, Maya said quietly. Maya, sweetheart, why don't you? Mom would have told you to help. Maya's voice was steady, but her eyes were bright. She always said you were happiest when you were making music sound perfect. The silence stretched between them. Celine looked from father to daughter, understanding passing across her face. I lost my mom when I was 13, Celine said softly. Music saved me. Maybe I can return the favor. Leo felt something crack open in his chest. Why is this so important to you? Celine's expression darkened. Because it wasn't an accident. She leaned forward, lowering her voice even though they were alone. My team keeps telling me it was just equipment failure, but I know better. Someone's been messing with my shows. The email you sent? It wasn't fixing a glitch. It was stopping sabotage. Sabotage? Leo's engineer brain immediately kicked in. What kind of? The kind that could have hurt people. Celine's jaw tightened. I need someone I can trust. Someone who actually listens. Maya reached across the table and grabbed her father's hand. Go, Dad. I'll stay with Abuela Rosa. She's been wanting to teach me to make tamales anyway. 48 hours later, Leo found himself on a private jet, watching America shrink below them while Celine worked on her laptop across the aisle. As Denver's lights appeared on the horizon, she looked up and smiled, the first genuine smile he'd seen from her. Welcome to the tour, Leo Martinez. Hope you're ready for some answers. 2 weeks into the tour, Leo had mapped every cable, catalogued every crew member's access levels, and discovered that someone was playing a very dangerous game. It started with Tommy Reeves. Fired him 6 weeks ago. Jake Morrison, the head sound engineer, explained while they prepped for Phoenix. Kid was talented, but started acting paranoid. Claimed someone was messing with his mixes. Leo studied the crew manifest on his tablet. What kind of messing? Said his vocal presets kept changing between soundcheck and show. But the logs showed nothing. Jake shrugged. Tommy always was a perfectionist. Maybe too much so. That night, Leo stayed late in the empty arena, running diagnostics. In the digital mixer's memory, he found something Jake had missed, ghost commands buried in the system cache. Someone had indeed been altering Tommy's settings, but they'd known exactly how to mask their tracks. The next morning brought a worse discovery. They changed the pyro cues again, muttered Rick, the lighting director, staring at his console. Third time this month. Usually it's just timing adjustments, but these. He showed Leo the screen. These could actually be dangerous if they fired wrong. Leo felt ice in his veins. Does Celine know? She's got enough to worry about. We handled the technical stuff. But when Leo checked the modification logs, they all traced back to a single administrative account, one that supposedly belonged to Celine herself. That evening, as Celine rehearsed her acoustic set, the Jumbotron flickered. Instead of displaying the usual lyrics to Broken Frequency, New words appeared. Some stars burn too bright. Some falls are worth the flight. Your last song is coming. Better make it count. The crew scrambled to fix it, claiming it was a graphics glitch. But Leo had been watching the video control booth. No one had touched anything. It's getting worse, Celine said later in her dressing room, her confident stage persona cracking. First the audio sabotage, now this. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. Leo pulled up the video system schematics on his laptop. These modifications, they're sophisticated. Whoever's doing this knows your systems inside and out. Or they have help. Celine's voice was barely above a whisper. Leo, what if it's someone on my own team? As if summoned by her words, Leo's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Tell her to cancel Detroit. Last warning? Leo showed Celine the message. Her face went pale, then hardened with resolve. We're not canceling anything, she said firmly. But I need you to find them before Detroit. Because if you're right about the pyro cues. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Leo thought about Maya, safe at home with her grandmother. About Tommy Reeves, fired for trying to protect this show. About 20,000 fans who would fill the Detroit arena in 3 days, trusting that everything would go according to plan. I'll find them, he promised, though he had no idea how. But he knew one thing for certain: someone on this tour wanted Celine Quinn's career to end. And they didn't care who got hurt in the process. Detroit's Little Caesars Arena hummed with pre-show energy as Leo stared at his laptop screen in horror. He'd found it buried in the pyrotechnic control system, a hidden subroutine that would trigger the stage cannons during the finale of Midnight Frequency. Not just trigger them, but override every safety protocol. The blast would happen directly above Celine's position, where she always stood for her signature high note. You need to see this, Leo said, bursting into the security trailer where head of security Marcus Webb was reviewing crowd protocols. Marcus glanced at Leo's screen and frowned. Looks like normal pyro programming to me. No, look, Leo pointed to the code. This bypass kills the safety delays. If this fires during the song climax, with the audio feedback I found in the system. Slow down, repairman. Marcus's tone was dismissive. You've been on tour 2 weeks. These guys have been doing this for years. I'm telling you, someone's going to get hurt. Celine? Marcus called on his radio. Your audio guy is freaking out about the pyro show. Can you? There's no time. Leo checked his watch. Doors opened in an hour. At minimum, we need to disable the pyro for tonight until. Absolutely not. Jake Morrison had entered the trailer. We're not changing a show this big because the new guy has theories. Leo felt the walls closing in. Half the crew avoided eye contact. Some believed him, but wouldn't speak up. The other half treated him like a paranoid outsider. His phone buzzed. A text from Maya. Dad, I'm watching your interview online about Mom. You said you could always hear what was wrong before anyone else. Just listen like you used to. Love you? Leo's heart clenched. Maya was right. He'd always trusted his ears over everything else. And right now, they were screaming danger. 40 minutes before showtime, Leo made his choice. He slipped into the audio booth's back room where the backup mixing consoles sat unused. His fingers flew across the touchscreen, bypassing security protocols he mapped weeks ago. If he couldn't convince them, he'd have to save Celine himself. The pyro system was hardwired to the main audio board for timing synchronization. But Leo had spent 15 years learning every trick, every workaround. He found the data pathway and began surgical cuts, disabling just the dangerous triggers while leaving the safe effects intact. 20,000 fans filled the arena as Celine took the stage. Leo watched from the wings, sweat beading on his forehead as she powered through song after song, building toward the finale. Then came Midnight Frequency. As Celine hit her climactic high note, Leo held his breath. Nothing. No blast. No danger. Just pure, perfect music. Later, during the encore, Celine paused and looked directly into the wings where Leo stood. "Tonight," she said to the crowd, "I want to thank the only person who actually listened when it mattered. Sometimes heroes don't wear capes, sometimes they just know how to hear the truth." The crowd erupted, but all Leo could think about was getting home to hug his daughter. 6 months later, Leo stood in what used to be an abandoned warehouse in Brooklyn, watching Maya test the acoustics of their newly built performance stage. "Dad, the reverb is perfect," she called out, her voice carrying clearly to the back of the space without any electronic help. The scandal had made international headlines. Superstar exposes ter sabotage. Celine had gone public with everything: the emails, the pyro tampering, even the identity of the saboteur. It turned out to be Danny Walsh, a former business partner who'd been systematically trying to destroy her career after a contract dispute. He'd recruited a small crew of disgruntled ex-employees, including someone with enough access to plant the dangerous code. The lawsuits were still ongoing, but public opinion had rallied behind Celine. Her courage in speaking truth, even when it meant admitting vulnerability, had only made her more beloved. For Leo, the aftermath had been simpler. Celine's management team had offered him a permanent position, head of audio security for all her future tours, with a salary that would have changed his and Maya's life completely. He'd said no. "I don't understand," Celine had said when he called her from his kitchen table, the same spot where this all began. "You could travel the world, work with the best equipment, never worry about money again." "I've been thinking about Tommy Reeves," Leo had replied. "The engineer you fired. He was trying to protect your show, but no one listened because he was just a kid from nowhere. How many other kids like that are out there? Kids who hear things others miss, but never get the chance to learn?" That's how the Brooklyn Community Sound Academy was born. Leo used his savings and a small loan to buy the warehouse. He'd planned to start with basic equipment, maybe teach a few neighborhood kids the fundamentals of audio engineering. He figured it would take years to build something meaningful. Then the surprise call came. "I want to fund the whole thing," Celine had said simply. "State-of-the-art equipment, full scholarships for any kid who wants to learn, and a performance space that rivals any venue in the city. On one condition." "What condition?" "I get to perform at the opening night." Now, watching Maya rehearse for that very opening, Leo felt something he hadn't experienced since Sarah was alive: complete peace. The academy would serve kids from all over Brooklyn, teaching them not just technical skills but how to trust their instincts, how to listen with purpose. Places, everyone, called Maya, who'd somehow appointed herself stage manager for the evening. 20 minutes later, as the first students and their families filed into the performance space, Leo spotted a familiar figure in the back row. Celine Quinn sat quietly, wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt, looking like any other proud parent. Maya took the stage for the opening number, an original song she'd written about finding your voice. As her daughter sang, Leo realized that sometimes the most important frequencies weren't the ones you heard, but the ones you helped others find. In the back of the room, Celine smiled and whispered something that only Leo, with his engineer's ears, could catch. "Perfect pitch."